go where you would not be at risk from such a thing. Especially in the UK, which has something like 12% of all the world's security cameras. Doesn't really trust its own people much.
See, this is what I mean. There are two ways to control a population. Force them to do what you want, or convince them to do what you want. And I think that the former may seem easier, but the latter works better in the long run.
Yes, the book got a bit, densely technical at times, but I quite liked it.
I don't mind a bit of that in, Those faces in the background remind me of that old Nickelodeon game show, like Secrets of the Hidden Temple.
Reminds me of Knightmare.
I don't know if those snakes do anything or if I just haven't hit them right.
They're snakes. I presume they hurt you.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's much in this game that's not, like, out to kill me.
Where do they find all these guys?
The overcrowded prison populations of the future.
Oh,
Hit me. Fuck you.
you wonder how they're persuaded into this.
Do this or we'll murder your family. Maybe they're clones.
Well, there was a story that was told on QI about this historical army who intimidated their enemy by having the first rank of their soldiers walk up and chop their own heads off.
Okay.
I think
I've heard of that lot, actually.
They were all condemned criminals who'd been told, do this or we murder your family. And, they did this as an intimidation tactic to say, hey, our soldiers will do this if we tell them to. What the fuck do you think they're going to do to you?
Kiss me?
Apparently it worked.
Yeah, well, that's, back in those days, wars were won on, like, just scaring, like, if your
showing up
that was it.
Showing up on the back of an elephant, if your population has never seen an elephant before.
That would be a bit of a surprise.
Like, oh my god, they've got fucking monsters.
Why don't we get war monsters? This isn't fair. This isn't gonna work. I can't win this.
I was playing Valiant Hearts, like the game that tells the story of the First World War.
Cool.
And apparently when tanks were first introduced in the First World War, they had a very similar effect. Because they'd never been used before in warfare. Because the whole First World War happened, there was a massive technological leap in terms of weapons of war. And when tanks were introduced, the people were like, shit, what the fuck's that? It's gonna come and kill us!
Can't beat that, it's made of metal.
Didn't take long to figure out you could just chuck a grenade under the treads. But same thing happened with elephants, actually. They were used against the Roman Empire, and they were scared at first, but it didn't take long to figure out that elephants scare pretty easily.
Yeah, also, war elephants can't tell the difference between, Hannibal's soldiers and Romans. Yeah, that used to happen a lot. The elephants would go, like, batshit and just tear through everybody.
Yeah, what the Romans used to do was they'd just put their pikemen... What they do is their infantry would just separate, and they'd allow the elephants into the pikemen at the back, and the elephants would go, shit, pikes, and then stampede in the opposite direction and crush Hannibal's army instead.
Although I think by the time Hannibal got across the Alps, I think he only had like one elephant left.
The Romans did well because they were a notoriously adaptable force.
And organised.
There was another story from around that time where the Romans were attacking on enemy territory that was very swampy. And the enemy were used to it, but the Romans weren't, so the Romans had an issue. So you know what they did? The Romans flat out invented the concept of stilts.
Okay, I know you mean probably just like little wooden things for them to stand on in the swamp, but in my mind they're like 5 foot tall sort of Roman stilt soldiers marching through.
Yeah.
For Caesar!
Yeah, it made exactly that noise. They were using hydraulics.
Yeah.
They invented hydraulics as well.
Well, hydraulics did exist back then, it's just nobody really sort of cottoned on how to do anything
They invented hydraulic power armor.
In my cool original alternate history book that no one's ever had the same idea as.
It was made of brass, and it had one of them Roman helmets with the little punk mohawk thing on the top.
Oh, I used to know the name of that.
A brush.
A brush.
A brush stuck to the top of his dumb head.
Ancient Rome was an interesting place. Fun place.
What exactly is the goal of Smash TV? Just get to the end?
Yep.
Okay.
Video games in the old days. Video games in 1990, man. What do you do? Go to the end.
And what's the
How do I do that? Kill all the dudes.
And what's the big prize?
Live. Bingo! I love it.
So are you a condemned criminal?
I don't... Honestly, with the smiles, I think he's like a...
No, he seems really into this.
Yeah. I think he just really wanted to kill, like, 100,000 clones.
Makes me think of the film version of Battle Royale, where they talk about the psycho guys and say he's the guy who volunteered.
Yeah. Battle Royale's a great film.
That's
Sequel's
what
retarded, but Battle Royale's a great film.
That's what you are. You are the guy who volunteered. You're the craziest, nuttiest nut bar in the fucking place.
Saddest, loneliest tit.
Anyway, well, we had a couple of other topics.
Oh yeah, Fox News used
Yes.
Bioshock logo.
Fox News, with absolutely zero irony, used something that looked exactly like the Bioshock Infinite logo as a logo for their... I don't even know what it is. Some kind of...
It was a news logos are just dangerous hype machines. They want to create a hype train for racism, basically.
You wonder if Fox News is just full of Stephen Colbert contemporaries who have just gone so many levels deep they don't even know where they are anymore.
Just lost.
They're
just lost now.
Defending our borders.
It was something like that. It was something.
They were flat out using it as the part of the anti-immigration conversation that's been going on in America.
So they used a logo about a game of a flying racist fortress.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, that's delightful. Yes. I mean, the graphics department could have done that as a lark.
Possibly. I mean, someone very disgruntled, maybe.
It happens, man. You know.
It's never a smart idea to burn your bridges.
I don't know, man.
I'm sure that at least one person in the company somewhere should have pointed out. Maybe they
didn't. Like that's. You know,
maybe they explained the plot, and Fox News didn't realise which party was supposed to be the unsympathetic one in the description of the game's story. Hey, those guys sound like they're really on top of things.
Glenn Beck's actually attempting to build one right now.
They worship the founding fathers as if they're gods. Check.
Which they are, because America.
They ghettoise all racial minorities, but enslave them at the same time.
That was a great moment, like that start where it's just like, this is about to get really racist, isn't it? It's just like, Jesus.
You know, I really like Bioshock Infinite. Let's not get into that again.
It was my most hated game of 2013, I think, if you'll recall correctly.
You know, it's not that so much. It's just the comment you followed it up with that Tomb Raider was better.
No, I didn't say that. You said, what would be your game of the year? After I specifically said 1,000,000 times, I don't want a game of the year.
Well, perhaps I should have clarified then and asked what was the game you enjoyed playing the most in the course of that year?
Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition.
Okay then, why didn't you say that at the time?
Because we had a second combat... Alright, did you see that? It walked me in and then activated me on an enemy.
Fuck you, player. Give us some money.
No, because, again, like, we had a discussion about how one's...
No. I think you were the only one having that discussion. I was just asking what your favourite game was, and I used that with the phrase Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And you sort of reinterpreted the whole concept.
No, because Game of the Year is different to what my favourite game is. If you ask someone what their favourite movie is, it's very different to what they may think is the best-made movie.
I don't... Do you think Game of the Year is some kind of objective truth? I'm saying Game of the Year is whatever your favourite game was that year.
No, because
why is this not...
We were talking about it in the frame of something being nominated Game of the Year. Like, that was the
I was
discussion.
asking what you would nominate as Game of the Year.
Yeah, and Game of the Year is not the same as my favourite game. You just ask what my favourite game is. They're different things. Fucking shit. Bullets.
I don't know what you're getting at here. Of course, Game of the Year means what your favourite game was that year.
No, it doesn't. It's like the difference between what your favourite movie was of the year and what won the Oscar.
I feel like I'm in hell.
So do I. I'm having to explain something really fucking simple to you.
What the fuck is wrong with you? The question was...
They're different things. They are different things.
Oh god, oh god, oh god. This is something entirely created in your mind.
No, it isn't. Game of the Year and what your favourite game is are different things.
I'm just your Game of the Year and what your favourite game was that year are two different things. That is a sentence that came out of your mouth. I'm gonna write that down and I want you to read that and try to figure out why I think you're fucking nuts.
Again, I've explained this and you just don't listen.
I did fucking listen! No, I know what you mean!
No, you don't.
I know exactly what you mean!
Then how are you
were
confused?
Equating... Because you're fucking mad! You're a fucking madman! I'm done. YouTube comments will complete this argument for me. I just don't understand why you take the position that your game of the year is a different thing to the favourite game you enjoyed playing the most that year?
Because it was in the structure of a discussion of what was described as an objective game of the year. Okay, that's a simple answer. That's a really simple... Those are words you can understand.
And in your mind, this is just me being stupid, isn't it?
Well, it is you being stupid. It is you being stupid. You don't understand a simple thing. How the frame of the conversation affects how we were talking, what we were discussing precisely. There's different.
Let's just move on. Let's talk about psychedelic mushrooms.
I've taken them.
I haven't.
Well, that explains a lot.
Well, this was a story this week that for some reason you wanted to talk about, so do you want to take this?
Yeah, well, for some reason it was on Escapist, so I count that as video game news we can talk about. I don't know, why was the Escapist talking about psychedelic mushrooms?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know, maybe they thought it would be interesting.
Does it come under do they do regular news? I don't know, I don't
They do everything.
Oh, okay.
They do whatever they think will pass the time. In other words, they do whatever they think will act as escapism.
Fair enough. I suppose mushrooms fall into the category of escapism quite well.
That's
Well, I mean, I wouldn't use them as that. I don't think mushrooms are a good escapist drug. They're a learning tool.
That's the clearest definition of escapism there is, really.
Well, yeah,
taking recreational drugs.
Well, mushrooms, I wouldn't... You shouldn't treat mushrooms as recreational or escapism, because they're fucking intense.
Well, this is the thing. This is getting away from recreation, because the story was that psychedelic mushrooms might be used to treat anxiety and depression.
Yes. Yes, they can help. They help me a lot. The neuropharmacology of it's quite interesting. Like I've read an awful lot also about the use of MDMA as a treatment of PTSD. That's been really effective. A lot of things by people who really, and I mean like major grade soldier PTSD. Like
yes.
Can't hear a pop without being back in Afghanistan PTSD.
And of course, cocaine is a great treatment for having too much money.
Cocaine is a great example, and I will give Prohibition this. If cocaine wasn't as actively prohibited in Australia as it was, I would have had a massive cocaine problem. Like, if it was as easy to get in, like, the UK or the States or something, that'd have been trouble. Because the problem is you can take it and function rather well on it for a while.
Yeah.
Before it starts to.
Have you taken it?
Yes.
Me too.
I've done more or less everything except injected heroin.
See, I've never taken hallucinogenic drugs, and that's the thing I've always wanted to try, because some of great creators throughout history have been greatly inspired by them.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They're tough to recommend because they can also be fucking unpleasant. Like, I have had monstrously, nightmarishly bad trips. Like, the first time I ever took mushrooms, they were cooked.
I don't mind. I like horror games.
Okay, yeah. You don't like this.
A trip doesn't have to be nice to inspire the creative juices.
Yeah, that's like... You could get a great story about, being abducted by, like, Syrian terrorists and tortured. Like, that doesn't mean you want to go through it.
I mean, I'd probably have a really nice trip where I just ride rainbows through the forest on a unicorn while eating cake, and I wake up and think, I can't do shit with that.
You may do. Like, that's the thing. It's not... Mushrooms particularly, like psilocybin mushrooms, aren't just... They aren't cut and dry. Generally, how you go into it is going to affect it an awful lot. I recommend, like, first of all, don't go out. Like, don't take mushrooms and go out. That's retarded.
Yes, I've heard, don't go out and also have a buddy there.
A buddy is useful if you've never done them. Yeah. Don't be alone is another big one. Taking it with someone's usually good.
Don't go out, but don't go alone. I'm getting mixed messages here.
Well, yeah, have someone come over to your house.
Like
you want to be somewhere familiar. I kind of would like to see that, actually.
Yeah, you come over and watch me take some drugs.
I'd recommend maybe about 5. Okay, so because here's... I took them cooked first, and cooking modifies the actual active ingredient and changes it, and changes how the trip works. So I thought... I took a uncooked amount of classic Queensland Gold Top Blues, thinking that they had to work like a cooked amount. And I wound up, at the age of 16... just sitting by myself and eating 25, give or take.
Smart.
Yeah.
Were you making a risotto?
The first, no, I just fucking wolfed the things down. They taste like fucking ass. You'll need like a can of Coke or something to get through them. But okay, so the first 4 hours.
How do you know what ass tastes like?
You know, sometimes it tongue slips.
What, while you're affectionately treating somebody's balls?
Yes, Yahtzee balls. The first 4 hours were fun, and then I realized it was still coming on, and that I wasn't prepared for. I'd smoked a lot of weed, and made the sort of full mistake of thinking that the two might be comparable, and at first they kind of, sort of, almost are.
So it's like having an orgasm, but then black stuff comes out.
No, see, the thing is, it destroys bits of your fucking ego barrier, so you forget, you start thinking, but you're not you. And your ability to discern the difference between you physically and the objects you are touching starts to collapse. The ability to differentiate yourself from the rest of the universe starts to fuck up. And that's insane. I went outside, because like, after about 5 hours, I'm like, I need something to entertain myself. I need something to take my mind off this, because this is just too intense. I had a conversation with the brick wall.
This sounds like fun so far.
Oh yeah, no, at this point, it was still fun, but I was getting kind of bored, and it was really intense, and I was starting to get a bit nervous.
I can't imagine you'd have much in common to talk about with the brick wall. Oh, well, wait.
The brick wall asked me how it was, which is actually a very common thing when you're taking a psilocybin. Something will ask you, how is it? I'm like, yeah, it's different to what I expected. And I went outside, and it was just kind of a little bit before twilight, you know, where the light's really clear but not bright, and I looked up. Now that was a mistake, because I looked up and could see a star, like, you know, just way off in the distance, like, you know, the distance, the fucking, you know, stellar distance. So I could see a star. And then the reality of what that star was and what that star meant to my place in the universe all hit at once, without any of the usual ego shit you have to protect you from those thoughts. And suddenly the entire scale of the universe was just completely thrust into my fucking brain, and I realized, like, I just saw it, I was just like, holy sweet fucking Jesus. Everything you care about, everything you love, everything you hate is tiny, and you are small, and the universe is big.
You went into a total perspective vortex.
Yep.
Hitchhiker's Guide reference.
That's exactly what it is, and...
But from the way you're describing it, it's making me think of an experience I had with World of Warcraft.
Oh.
Yeah, you have your little contemptible laugh before I even had a chance to explain myself.
No,
this is how you operate,
it's contemptible because particularly because it's World of Warcraft, and you've been grim toward World of Warcraft on a variety of occasions, and now you're just going to pop up and describe World of Warcraft in the same...
Well, you know, World of Warcraft is a kind of a shitty way to spend 3 months. But
it's personally not my kind of game, but that's not to say
I've been playing for a while. It was doing the thing where it just rewards you and punishes you in such a way as to get you hooked. I was playing it sort of mindlessly for a while, and I was killed by something, and I found myself in the dead world of World of Warcraft, where everything's all ghosty and white, and you just have to run back to your corpse. And then for some reason, I'm not sure why, because there's never really any reason to do this, I looked up. I looked directly upwards while I was in the middle of the plane. And what I saw was that there was a massive, spiraling, swirling vortex taking up the entire sky.
Cool.
And it wasn't what I was expecting. I guess I might have been pretty tired, because I felt suddenly struck by it, and intimidated. And in that moment, I had the first planted seed in my mind for Mogworld. I was like, I'm a tiny thing. I am a tiny thing in the middle of a massive clusterfuck I don't understand.
Yeah.
And
that's an important realization.
It's only once I've entered the dead world and seen this thing in the sky that I'm now getting a hint of the sheer enormity of what's around me.
Okay, imagine that, but you're in the game.
Like, I was in the game.
No. You're not playing a game. You're the game. Imagine being your character and realizing that you were in a game, and then imagine that happening to you, Ben Kershaw.
Well, that was the essence of Mogworld, since you mentioned it.
Yeah, but the actual experience is... it can be quite terrifying. I've also had amazing fun on mushrooms, because again, God damn it.
Do you want to just have a big cough? Oh. Did something come out of your mouth?
Huh? No.
I just saw a little white speck come out of your mouth when you did that.
I don't know, nothing came out of my mouth.
Maybe I was
probably all that your dick I was sucking.
Maybe it was just out of the corner of my eye and things were playing tricks. Are you done?
No, I'm fighting 2 snakes.
Is all that rant phlegm out of your throat now?
What? Am I hurting these? Do you think
things are flashing white.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought, but I think I might actually just have to be like, I think that might mean I'm not hitting them right. I think I might have to be hitting them in the fucking head. So this entire time I've been doing nothing.
Well, their heads acquire electricity a bit.
Yeah, I think
you shoot them in the head, they sort of fizzle a bit.
I think I've been wasting time here.
Possibly.
But yeah, I've also had amazing fun. And again, I wouldn't use them as escapism because there's nothing to you lose yourself to such a degree that the escapism is...
Oh, you won.
Yeah, it's like they're not what I describe as a good escapist drug because they are intense.
Looks like this room has been dehydrated. Yeah! Because it's, it's had a hydra removed from it.
Was that a hydra? I think that was just 2 separate things.
I think it was part of a hydra.
Oh, okay.
The other heads were all chilling out backstage in the green room.
So what do you think Dale's gonna do? How do you think he's gonna do?
Having a Coke and a biscuit.
But yeah, like it's one of those things where, like, I mean, if you have any history of, like, psychological imbalance, maybe don't. But then I had a history of psychological imbalance, and I think it helped me greatly. So, it's one of those things where it's difficult to recommend because of the intensity of it. Like, I can say try weed. Like, that's no big deal.
I've only done weed once. I've done cocaine more times than I've done weed, and I haven't done cocaine very often.
I can't imagine you on weed. You slower would be... I don't know, I just can't sort of fathom that.
Well, possibly just sleepier.
Yeah, that too.
Well,
you on cocaine, I wouldn't mind seeing.
Well, someone passed me a joint once when I lived in a share house, and I inhaled too much and choked, because this was even before I'd smoked a cigarette. So I probably didn't get the effect.
No, you will. If you inhale and get it in your lungs, you'll get something.
Well, I don't remember much.
That's probably a good sign. I don't know, I kind of want to see that now. I like the idea of you being giggly. That would just tickle me.
I get giggly. It's when you talk about booby bum bum, remember?
So bizarre. So funny. You and your little booby bum things.
Yes, just the once, and let's not forget I was very tired at the time.
No, there have been a few other instances, like unrecorded instances, where you've sort of just giggled at just funny, silly little things like that.
Yes, we've established that.
I think it's cute. I think it's funny.
I like visceral humour that sort of cuts through the language barrier.
Testes.
That doesn't work.
No.
Testes is too clinical a word.
See, I find the
bollocks.
Clinical ones...
Now, bollocks is a perfect word.
I find, like, sort of inappropriate use of the clinical ones, like, can be quite funny. Like, I think that jars them, sort of shifts them a little bit.
I don't know. It always smacks of trying too hard to me.
Yeah, see, I don't know. You really like Bottom, though, and I find Bottom probably the more laboured of their works.
That's the beauty of it.
It gets tiring.
I mean, I kind of like the live shows better because there's much more of a self-awareness to it, to the excessive visceralness.
I don't know.
It's like when at the moments when they accidentally hit each other for real and then like apologise for 2 minutes.
Don't apologise, just fucking take it. You're doing a live show, you pretend to hit each other. It's funny.
They're pretty good at miming hits without actually hitting each other.
To their credit, they actually are. They're better than a lot of wrestlers.
Yes.
And that's like their job.
Yeah. Sort of says it all, really, doesn't it? Failed at stage work? Become a professional wrestler! Even people with no brain at all will get by.
There has to be a place for the brainless. Places for the placeless.
If you fail even that, consider MMA.
Dude, MMA is like, you're actually getting hit there.
Yeah, but no great loss, right?
You should, like, listen to Baz Rutten. He's, like, one of the eldest statesmen of MMA, and he's actually quite funny and clued in.
Well, I imagine he got out while the getting was good, then, before he got massive brain damage or anything.
Well, see, the good thing about MMA is, unlike boxing, it's not just all blows to the head. Like, you can do a lot of ground, you can do a lot of submissions.
Hence the mixed part of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, but I mean, like, boxing with the gloves is what gives you, like, repeated sort of concussions over, many things.
Yeah, because Newton's, whatever it is, law, every action has an equal opposite reaction. If you're not wearing the gloves, any pain you visit upon a face will be visited equally on your fist.
Well, okay, this is why I like bare knuckle, is because the gloves just make it safe for your fist. They don't make it safe for your brain. Like, getting hit in the head like that rattles it around really bad, and that's why
Yes.
like, American football has bigger problems with concussion syndrome than, say, Australian, because you don't have the armor. So you actually have to modify how hard you tackle a person and where you tackle a person based around what will actually hurt you. And that's a natural limiter to the sort of damage you can do. Whereas because of the helmets and the armor, you can just run into people like a fucking freight train. And they do, and it's impressive to watch, but it's terrible for people. Like, it's
Perhaps
not good.
We should just give all kids helmets and let them work it out of their system before they join the real world.
Well, I mean, there's a big and a healthy place for, contact and combat sports, and again, I think, the UFC does a really good job of keeping it relatively safe. No one's really fucking died in it, that I can think of off the top of my head. Major injuries are relatively sort of...
It's funny how pro wrestling sometimes seems less safe. Because it's like the ballet thing. People put themselves through massive physical trauma for the sake of a show.
Yeah.
Whereas MMA is actually a sport.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's because people know the pain is real in MMA that they sort of go, all right, I have to tap or my arm's gonna break.
Yeah.
Whereas in wrestling, it's like must put show on, and then they just keep going. It's really,
show must go on. Show must go on.
Whereas, because I think MMA, it's just like, this is me possibly getting hurt. I don't owe the fans fucking shit. I gotta tap, I gotta stop. Although there are some sort of like budget outfits, and Russia lately has been doing just some horrible things, like MMA that's like 5-on-5.
Well, if you've ever lived through a Siberian winter,
which is such a bad idea. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it makes for some fun YouTube clips, but people are gonna get really hurt.
What was that story about the Cambodian midget wrestling league?
That's great. No, there are some great midget wrestling leagues, and here's the great thing about midget wrestling. Ladder matches where they get on a ladder. 2 midget dudes on a fucking regular-sized ladder is some of the most heart-stoppingly tense shit you'll ever watch, because it looks like they're gonna fall for miles. It's great.
Do they prefer midget or dwarf, or is it just little person now?
See, I don't know. I think this gets to like, what's the intent going into it? I want to call you whichever one is the one that won't upset you, so can you just take it as read that I mean no fucking offense? Like,
yeah, I always think little person sounds a bit patronizing.
Condescending, yeah. Like, it is like, oh, you're a little fucking person. It's like, I don't know, like...
Why don't we just pat you on the head and give you a lollipop?
Really demeaning. Like, and again, like, I figure, like, if I was in any kind of circumstance, like, if I was in a wheelchair, and that could fucking happen, I don't give a shit if you call me a fucking cripple or fucking wheelchair bound. I don't give a shit. Maybe like, it's not gonna, all the euphemisms in the world aren't gonna undo what's happened.
Maybe it's the person part of little person that's the operative word there.
Well, I mean, like, Peter Dinklage uses dwarf an awful lot, like, outside of, Game of Thrones, so I don't know.
Well, maybe people do sort of perceive dwarf as separate species because they watch too much Tolkien or something.
Yeah, I think if you manage to perceive, like, a human being dwarf as a separate species, that's probably a problem beyond, like, the nomenclature that you're using. Like.
Yeah, that's the thing that just struck me out of nowhere the other day. Like, Game of Thrones is a fantasy world with dwarves. Except realistic dwarves.
Regular. Well, I mean, dwarfism, and I think there are actually different conditions, if memory serves. Like, I think dwarfism...
Well, there's various different conditions. I think, like, the condition Peter Dinklage has is different to the condition Warwick Davis has, say.
Yeah, I think one's dwarfism, one's...
I remember hearing Warwick Davis actually has a fairly rare one.
Yeah. I wonder what the difference is.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, look it up.
Someone chime in. If there's a dwarf who follows us on Twitter...
I'm sure Wikipedia will let us know.
I mean, at the end of the day, what's the classification really fucking, relevant?
Well, this game really hasn't updated at all in this whole time we've been talking over it, has it?
Okay, this game is less than a meg.
I mean, are you near the end now?
I don't know. Probably not, actually.
I mean, you're in the sort of... what looks like the final mansion sort of environment.
I think I actually might be... I think there's 4 worlds, I'm not sure.
And it is an arcade game, which
it can't go for so
shorter.
Long. Well, also, it's 709k.
So how much money have you spent on it at this point?
Mental. On what?
On putting quarters into this emulated version of the game. How many virtual quarters have you spent?
Probably at least about $30.
And how many weeks of rent would it have paid?
Well, I don't know. I was 7 when this came out. There wasn't really rent to pay considerations then. It was basically just what I could nag out of my parents. Which was not a lot, because, we were poor.
Just living off your parents like a little scummy leech.
But, this was released on the SNES, which was a lot of fun, because me and my brother could play it, and we did. and that was an enjoyable afternoon.
Did it have a live system in it?
Yes, but they weren't linked, and I think it had limited credits, the SNES version, memory serves, because, you know, if you don't have to pay, and there's no credit limitation, the game kind of becomes meaningless. But I think basically there was, like, easy, which would have, like, 15 credits, and, you know, then up to hard, which would have, like, 7 or something, and...
Have you played The Binding of Isaac?
Yes, only a little bit, though. I think I only just recently got it on Steam.
It's like Smash TV through the lens of, say, Jonan Vasquez.
I like him. He's funny on Twitter. You should do more stuff on Twitter. I'm always disappointed that you don't.
Well,
you have, like, what, 90,000 followers? Why? Why do you follow Yahtzee? Because all he ever does is go, here's a thing I'm doing, and then he doesn't offer an observation, he doesn't do anything funny.
Sometimes I do. If I think, well, Twitter I use for putting out the latest thing I've done.
Yeah.
Which I like to think a lot of my Twitter followers appreciate.
I'm not saying that's useless in itself. I'm saying you could be doing a lot more with that medium.
And if I think of a funny line that I can't really use anywhere else, I'll put it on there. I mean, I do have a tendency to second guess myself a lot these days, though. Like this morning,
it's Twitter, dude. Like
this morning, it suddenly occurred to me that there's a line in Half-Life 2 Episode 2 where the G-Man says to Alex Vance to pass on to Eli Vance, prepare for unforeseen consequences. And I was like, wait a minute, you can't prepare for unforeseen consequences because that's what unforeseen means.
Expect the unexpected.
And I was about to tweet that, but then I thought, no, that makes me look kind of dumb.
All 90,000 of your Twitter followers would have loved that.
Well,
that's what Twitter's for. Like I like the stupid observations.
No. The ones that replied would have. Other people would probably have just thought that was lame and unfollow without messaging me anything. So
does that hurt your feelings when people unfollow you? Like
the trouble with a lot of internet video content creators is that they worry too much about the vocal commenters and not the silent ones.
Well, no, but I mean the vocal commenters, positive or negative. That's why I don't really bother reading the YouTube comments, because even the ones who say, "Hey, Gabriel's nice," that could be like a brief moment of lucidity between shit-flicking sessions.
I mean, what's
the point?
I mean,
you have to do it for yourself.
I've watched so many internet reviewers that fall into the trap of trying to make themselves into a wacky character.
Yeah,
they do skits. I mean, if you're not Red Letter Media, maybe try to avoid doing skits.
Well, even though I don't like the Red Letter Media skits,
because when you do skits,
you kill prostitutes. We get it.
When you do skits, what will happen is the people who came. What the fuck?
I'm winning women.
Oh, you won all the women.
Yes. I get mating rights in this bleak future world.
I think they're just blow-up dolls.
Same diff.
This is really backward politically correctness-wise. Yeah, as I was saying,
there's a lot going on here at the moment. There's a lot of interpretations you could read into this.
I've seen so many internet reviewers where they do reviews and they have good points and they make jokes in their reviews, but then they do skits. And then what always happens is that they're bottom licky fans who post all the comments. And post on all the forums say, "Ooh, a great skit, a great introduction of character X that you made up. We'd like to see more of him. Love Botty Licky." And meanwhile, there's like a huge proportion of silent viewers who watched it because they liked the review. And when you start doing skit, they will go, "Oh, this skit's really embarrassing. Turn off." And the vast majority of them won't post anything. They won't dislike. They'll just quietly stop watching. Because that's what the vast majority of viewers do. It's the people who try to get involved who are the freaks.
God, isn't your little review character a character? Well, we've had this conversation.
But I don't do skits. I don't make
I'd say I almost think the zero punctuation reviews are themselves a skit.
No, there's a review going on throughout it. But
yeah, but
sometimes there's funny imagery, but there's not. There's never like I don't do like little side stories.
No. Well, that's brevity is, I think,
where I showed them having
showed
them having little adventures or something, and do little skit jokes. Sometimes I'll do like a little skit-like thing, but not using those characters, like where I replace the dialogue in an intro sequence.
Look, you're shooting eyeballs at me.
But I do that rarely because I only do that when I think of a funny idea. Like I did a video of the start of Half-Life, but replaced the radio announcement voice on the train with the voice of a put upon morning DJ, complaining about how many people request "I Am a Scientist" by the Dandy Warhols.
I love that. I love it, Lane. I love it. I love all the digitized. This is like 700k, and they've got like digitized voice. Good on you guys.
I love the fact that you're blowing up my string vest.
All right,
if you look at a YouTube video, if you look at a YouTube video, you look at the number of comments versus the number of views, you'll realize that commenters are by their very nature in a minority.
I find commenting weird anyway. Like, I mean, again, like, I'm not gonna say that you're wrong to do it, but I find it, like, who sees something with, like, 700 comments and decides, oh, I'll add to that? Like, that always seems strange to me. Like, I suppose I'm a weird shut-in, so I find interacting generally just probably a bit pointless, but...
No, I agree. I think internet comments are kind of the blight of Web 2.0. I mean, I'm sort of okay with it under like an article if you just want to discuss the points raised.
Yeah, but I mean, how many of those are actually discussing the points raised and not going off into hyperbolic fucking, you know...
But I always, when I'm watching a YouTube video, I always push the comments off the screen as the first opportunity, because the first one, the highest upvoted one, is almost invariably a direct quote of the funniest joke in the video, which immediately spoils it. He certainly does love it. I do not.
Did you just do something?
Oops. Oh, yes, I accidentally clicked outside the window there.
Thanks, Yachts!
Oh, what are you complaining about?
Yachts is helping.
You got infinite lives. So is this the final boss?
Yeah.
Good timing. We're like at the end of the 1 hour and a bit we usually do.
Take that, nefarious, evil Larry Emder.
Now his head has floated off to go and be the new Max Headroom somewhere.
I miss Max Headroom. Well, I mean, you know...
Presents! This is better. I mean, obviously taking all that women was a trap. This is the real prize.
Well, again, I think, you know, the fact that the women were obviously tiny fetish constructs, I think, exemplifies a critique of the masculine objectification of women as a goal.
Now you got to carry 500 presents and 500 cardboard cutouts of women.
Yeah, that's all it is cardboard cutouts to make you feel bad about yourself.
And take them home to your little post-apocalyptic slum where you live.
Those are people, you jerk.
Well, you can just flog them all to the brothel, I suppose.
Post-apocalyptic world's a hard one.
Mm-hmm. If only there was someone around doing stand-up comedy.
Dude, you'd be a leather gimp. Just clawing to the lead.
I was trying to find out what the origin of the word gimp was the other day.
Good luck.
So, have you won the game now?
Looks like it.
Yay, well done. Do you feel fulfilled?
I have... Look how many editions of the home game I've won. That'll be useful. Have you ever wanted, like, 380,000 games of, you know, Scrabble?
Yes, for I routinely hold tournaments for...
Yes, vast Scrabble tournaments.
Consisting of 100,000 people.
Oh, good meat. That's important.
It's important to have good meat in the slum future.
Yeah, well, you don't want radiation-infused meat.
This must be a Soylent Green scenario.
I'd eat Soylent Green. I think we'll get to that point maybe if the population doesn't sort of... I've read something that the population is suggested to kind of...
Imagine you'd feel differently if it was Soylent Green made from your dad.
Why? Well, no. If he died and then they made Soylent Green out of him, okay. If they kicked his door down and made Soylent Green out of him while he was still kicking, not okay.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like just recycling of human protein.
Well, it makes sense. I mean,
we will all be one.
I mean, all the overpopulation solutions fail to factor into the disposal of bodies.
I find, like, graveyards kind of a colossal waste of space. Like, I get it, but...
Waste of good food as well.
People bits. I don't know, there's taboos around, like,
that is a terrifying depiction of boobs, I'm just saying.
It's a terrifying depiction of femininity, period. That's
nice 80s hair, though.
Fantastic 80s hair.
Again, it looks it looks like the mat around a toilet.
just on the cusp of 90s.
I guess that was just an 80s hair thing. They looked like the mat.
Oh, was it feathering? I want to say feathering. I don't know. I'm not a hair person.
I don't know.
I get my hair cut
parents when I was a kid in the 80s, my parents just made me get crew cuts all the time.
I didn't have a haircut till I was 4 until my granddad convinced me to get a crew cut, which was funny. My mum was annoyed with that. Like, I owe a lot of, like, because my parents were, like, kind of, like, weird freaks, And then my granddad was like, someone's got to make a man out of you, so he showed me, like, violent movies and stuff like that.
So I'll make a man out of you.
Like, we used to watch, like, Charles Bronson revenge films and, like, anything that was like, you want to see RoboCop? Yeah. You're 5? Yeah. Fuck it, let's go to the video store.
God, I'm so frustrated. You spoke over the whole time the words Gay Ray were on the screen.
Was that his name?
I presume it must have been.
Or was it like just, he was the gay Ray? Like there were 2 Rays, so there had to be gay Ray.
Actually, I think it was Ray Gay.
Ray Gay.
Actually,
yeah. What was it? You read it. I mean, you can't remember. That was like, what, like 8 seconds ago?
I can't. Well, that's because you were distracting me. It was something gay.
Gay Ray. Gonna hit me with the gay Ray. That's how they recruit you.
Yep, they're just going to maintain this pose until the screen goes off them, and then she will go away and scrub herself where you touched her. Yes, very fitting. Well done.
There you go, Yahtzee. Then you can have your gay. Look, gay. Gay one.
There was a gardening program on the BBC that had an occasional contributor to it whose name was Gay Search.
I love that.
It was a more innocent time.
I know, like, that's the thing, like, just words and, you know, things change over the intervening years. And you're gonna be, you know, what if there's, like, the Yahtzee murderer, like, someone who, like, goes around just beating people to death with, like, the Yahtzee board game?
Well, that will probably turn out to be me.
Clue number 1. I hope this is played in court one day. It'll probably turn out to be me.
Did you have any closing thoughts for the viewers? This is the demo now playing because you're sitting back with your coffee. So
yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
Fresh
now.
From your victory that requires
my triumph.
Your 100 million lives requiring triumph.
Smash TV. Probably. I'm curious to see how many continues.
What final things have you to say to the TV watching audiences of Slum America, Gabe the Victor?
You know, watch out for marauders. Pay your rent, otherwise Vinny will break your knees. Oh, the year's 1999, Yahtzee.
And always, always buy that for $1.
Fuck yeah.
That was going to be my closing line, but now we have to watch this whole thing now, don't we?
It's interesting.
I can't even do a dramatic reading, it's going by too fast. The action takes place in front of a studio audience and is broadcast live by a satellite around the world. Be prepared, the future is now. You are the next lucky contestant.
The future is what, about 15 years ago?
Yeah. Well, why don't you share stories about that lovely future you had, listeners?
Yeah. Oh. Dream of a better future.
Good night. Team print. Gabriel is a knob.
Not how you spell knob.
Go to 10. Run. Well, I don't think you can say fairer than that. Hello, everyone.
That's not how you spell knob.
This is Yahtzee Croshaw here, and here's my friend, a knob. But enough of that. We're playing Commodore 64 emulation style.
Whee!
In order to play Night Shift, a game I used to play when I was young. And to get the full experience of Commodore 64, we're going to wait for the whole loading to finish.
This is the kind of thing you'd yell at me for not editing out.
Well, partly because there's a couple of little things I need to clarify.
Okie dokie.
You know, we've said a lot of horrible things over the weeks, haven't we?
Yeah.
But I don't recall ever seeing a response as vocal as to the one we got last week when I said 30 FPS is sometimes as smooth, if not smoother, than 60 FPS in games.
What did I say? When you said that, I was like, just ting! I could just hear the keyboards, I could hear them, and it's like, I'll tell you different!
Well, not that this is an invitation to continue the argument, because I think there is an argument. I think this is a subjective thing I have.
Well, there can be. Well, see, my argument is, yeah, you were discussing what you have as a subjective viewpoint. And again, we come from an era when, you know, these things weren't really a thing. Like, we used to play games on CRT. Like, I've played video games on black and white TV screens the size of, like, a playing card almost.
Yeah,
so,
me too, actually.
I think it might be easier for us to just not notice the difference because we're not so keyed to it.
I think it's just because I think something that looks like it's been shot on film kind of looks nicer to me than something that looks like it's been shot on tape.
Yeah,
because
I
tape
get that
looks
a little bit as well.
I think it's possible to be too severe and too crisp. It's like putting a blur filter on so you can't see the individual pixels in a piece of pixel art.
Well, it's like how some of those TVs have a mode that makes everything look like a soap opera.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate that. It just looks hideous.
So there's that. So
what was your point?
Well, the point was, I just wanted to clarify that.
So it was a personal observation.
Because everyone was going, of course 60 FPS looks better than 30 FPS. It's like 30 more than 30 FPS.
Yeah, this was like how people can say that they enjoy records more than they enjoy CDs, even though the sound quality may be like demonstrably better.
So cunningly, you can't argue about this anymore because it's subjective. Ha ha. Oh yes, and thank you to the one person who pointed out that Rick Mail has done voice work for the games Hogs of War and Bud Tucker in Double Trouble. Thank you also to the 12 million other of you who also pointed that out but couldn't be asked to pay slightest bit of attention to the comments and see if anyone else had pointed that out. Oh, we've started.
This is why I'm glad I don't really read the comments anymore.
Well, it's important to know that the internet's on your side.
That can be your job.
The internet can turn against you in nasty ways.
Yeah, like when you said that like 30 FPS was better than 60 apparently.
So this is Night Shift. It's a game by LucasArts you might not be familiar with. It's not a game studio anymore. Not a lot of people know about it. Yeah, it's really kind of indie and hipster.
In order will cause no problems. However, if shifts are worked out of sequence, one of those pesky
boring.
Works.
Do we want to be Fred or Fiona? Fix it.
Is there like a difference?
Nope. Entirely cosmetic.
Oh, okay.
Well, since we're both men,
shit, then.
Let's be Fred Fix It.
Okay.
See Ubisoft, it's that easy.
That's so heteronormative of you, Artsy.
And now...
I was feeling female today.
And now more loading. Welcome to the cassette era.
Cassette era. Era. Yeah.
Still, I think it's doing better than a lot of console games these days, especially on the Xbone. It was like 2 hours between putting the disc for Rise, Son of Rome in and before I could actually play the bloody thing, not even counting intro sequences and the like.
Did it have to do a big install?
Yep. Firstly from the dashboard, and then firstly within the game. So you got
that seems a bit odd.
You got to see a lovely progress bar going for a while, and then you got to see another progress bar going for a while, but this time with nice Roman lithographic stuff around it.
Shit going on.
So the reason why I picked this game is because I remember not too long ago we were talking about how in the Commodore 64 era you could just have a game where you play someone just doing a job. Because we were talking about
mowing a lawn.
Because stuff like Viscera Cleanup Detail is not a new spin on video gaming; it's actually quite an old one.
Well, I remember on the Mega Drive there was a shitty box sliding puzzle called Shove It, the Warehouse Simulator.
Well, that's not exactly simulating someone's day at work, is it? That's just a puzzle game.
Well, yeah, essentially. But still.
Night Shift reminds me a little...
What is... Okay, what? What's the Night Shift at? Like, Night Shift where?
Okay, well, you're a Night Shift janitorial, custodian, maintenance staff type fellow.
Okie dokie.
Working at a toy factory.
Ah.
And
your little ones.
Your job is to ensure that the machine that you're tasked to constructs dolls in accordance with what you were ordered to create that shift. As long as you create the minimum quota of what you have to make. I'm trying to work
out what the gameplay is from this. I'm guessing like...
Well, you'll be interested.
Match. Is it a match thing where you gotta...
Nope.
Oh, okay. Is it a platformer?
Well, let's wait and see, shall we?
This is a long load time.
Yes. So how's your week been, Gabe?
I finished my exams for the semester.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Did you pass?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess so. Well, at least for history.
Have you acquired more skills you have no use for whatsoever?
Well, that's life, really, isn't it?
We were talking about this earlier. Like, you just seem to accrue skills you don't use. Like all that physical working out. You don't even bounce anymore.
I don't need... Well, exercise and good health is it's kind of like picking the perks in Fallout that let you like learn shit faster. Like that's a background perk. You don't specifically use it. Like you don't just go, I'm gonna use exercise at like a fucking fridge or some shit.
Well, you don't even have a job.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's about good health, and also it does come in handy. Like when I'm helping friends move and shit, I can move a whole fridge by myself now.
But you're
like
not,
a big one too.
But you're not contributing to society.
Oh, here we go. Says the man who makes knob gags.
Don't knock it, man. Brings the money in.
Well, the contribution is generously applied to that. Is this loaded now? Are we playing the game? Or are we gonna?
Here's the title screen again.
And again, I'm studying to be a teacher. Like, that's a fucking contribution, you dickhole.
Hope you enjoyed that revisit of the title screen, because now we're going to load some more.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes.
Sweet Christ, you played games like this, you sad prick.
Well, I got a lot of reading done when I was a C64 gamer.
Hear that, parents? Get your kids a Commodore 64.
Okay, I'm just teasing you. This emulator has a warp speed mode. So,
thanks. Fuck.
Set course for the next bit. Engage, Mr. Crusher. Pew!
It's still slow. Even at warp speed, it's still slow.
It won't be won't be there for much longer. There we go.
Fucking
okay.
Industrial might and logic.
Do you get it?
Huh.
Because it's the lesser-known LucasArts game. It's a pun on Industrial Light and Magic, the LucasArts company. So yes, this is the password screen. Remember passwords?
Yeah.
This is fruit-based.
I see.
But we've just...
Pick all bananas.
I'll just drop a save state there, actually.
Look, your thing's a little stormtrooper.
So our first task is to create 5 stormtroopers.
Oh, okay, so that's a toy you gotta make.
Okay, ready for action.
It's funny that Lucas had a game about the most profitable sort of element of Lucas.
Oh, it's just going to load it for a bit more. This is unusually a lot of loading for Commodore 64, actually.
So I suppose LucasArts were like pushing the edges of, gaming capabilities even back in the C64 days.
Shit like Dizzy, you load once and then you just play.
Dizzy.
This takes about 3 times as much.
The first time we sat down and spoke over a video game.
I don't really want to warp speed at this point because... Oh! Here we go. Here's the game. We are the maintainer of this vast Rube Goldberg-style machine. First thing we do is make sure the lights are flashing at a fast pace to keep the power up.
Okay, how do you accomplish this task? What are you doing at the moment?
I'm riding this bike.
Yeah, I mean, what are your hands doing?
I'm just knocking the joystick left and right.
Oh, so it's back forward, back forward, back forward.
Yep, so that's working.
So basically, you're able to jump there.
We're in the workings of a giant machine.
Uh-huh.
And in this first level, there's very little we have to do. Like, in future levels, we might have to make sure the conveyor belts and other things are all moving in the right direction.
Oh, Jesus.
But at this stage, it's fairly straightforward. You'd of course need the manual to know all of this.
Yeah, okay, viewers, I want you to imagine, viewers, right now I'm that bit in Event Horizon where they find the, video message from the crew, and he's just, ripped his eyes out and is holding them out, saying, "Save yourself from hell."
So here we are at the top of the machine. The first thing we do is screw this nut in. That was
a thing you could do?
That makes the washing machine turn.
Okie dokie.
The boiler's already boiling, so all we have to do is kick the plug in with a rather awkward down and left movement. In the right... There we go.
How do you know what is an activatable...
You trial and error it.
So
each doll is composed of a body and a head.
Alright.
Your task is to make sure all the conveyor belts and stuff are moving the right way so that the body ends up underneath the head.
Good-o.
So we'll just watch the machine in action.
What happens when you get stunned like that? Is that taking lives away?
No. Okay. There's no concept of health, there's just a timer. And all you have to do is make sure you've created all the dolls necessary by the time the timer ends.
There's a clog in the torso! Shoot!
So, torso down and head down. At the moment, we don't have control over what colour the dolls are. Colours will be introduced as the machine acquires more complexity.
Alright, so you finish this shift, and then it's well, that was good, but we shipped a bunch of weird orange stormtroopers.
Everyone likes orange stormtroopers. It can be part of some...
The hit item this Christmas.
And, this is basically the end of the first shift. We've won. We just have to wait for...
Have we?
We just have to see how many dolls will be made before time runs out.
This game is really screwed up in not having Raymond Feist's Powerhouse playing.
We need to take the opportunity to collect items while we're here, because there'll be hazards and stuff added later that we will need items to solve.
Okay, what are the items? Are the items randomly generated? How do you get items?
Well, if you collect them... Yeah, there's one, you see.
Okay, so that's an umbrella.
The umbrella is a quick way to get to the bottom of the machine. The balloon does the opposite.
Alrighty.
The wrench is for screwing the screw back in at the top. The match is for lighting the fires on the furnaces and boilers if they go out.
Do these not, like... How do these spawn?
They just appear in the middle there.
So just haphazardly?
Yeah, it just materializes like there's a balloon there.
Okay.
I'll just ride all the components up the machine, because health and safety thinks that's a great idea. That is a piranha plant. You use that to get rid of rodents once they're introduced.
Okie dokie.
Because when rodents get in there, bitches, they will flip switches and run around and annoy you until you catch them. But they're not introduced.
Sneaky rodents.
They're not introduced in this level. This game reminds you a little bit of Papers, Please in the way it adds complexity with each level. And you're just basically just a job's worth trying to get through life.
With the important distinction that Papers, Please is fun.
Well, I think what makes Papers, Please is the plot.
The music, for some reason, the sound. The sound gets me.
Yeah.
It's the Archer, however you pronounce it, national anthem, and the little noise the klaxon makes when you start calling people in. Yeah. It's just great.
Papers, Please is a really, really fucking good game. It's elegant, it tells an excellent story, and it's
simple.
It's satisfying in a rather weird kind of way. There we go. End of shift. This was the easiest level. Because we had no control over the paint, so odds are good it will have painted the head one colour and the body another a couple of times, and we'll get deducted for that, which is very unfair, I think.
That's bullshit.
But it doesn't take away from your quota, just as long as you make what they say to make.
For using our machine that we set up, designed, and built, we're going to deduct you money. Now Goma Pyle's going to give you some more jobs.
Now we have to make these two.
I'm guessing that's Han Solo and Chewbacca?
I suspect as much, yes.
I think.
So, always start with the bike.
There you go. There you go, Slash Fickers, you've got your sound effects.
Figuring out the controls was a bit trial and error in this game.
Huh.
Just cycle through items, you have to press space. Everything else is joystick controlled. But because the Commodore 64 only had one-button joysticks... I guess
when it was literally just a fucking stick on a box with a red button on it.
Basically. Ah ha 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 ha! I see a problem here.
What?
This conveyor belt's going the wrong way.
Mm.
And so is this delivery system. As a rule, both of these need to be going anti-clockwise.
Those little guys... Huh, that is a little background art.
Well, those are switches. I did some practicing before recording. So we're still not bothered about paint this time, but I think in the next level we will get access to the paint sprayer.
Ooh.
That's going clockwise as well. Make sure conveyor belts aren't leading into bins. And plug the screw in again.
Yes.
Are you having fun?
This game is really encouraging me to get a job.
I find this game weirdly fun, to be honest.
You're weird.
Well, we know that. So this time you'll notice that the boiler isn't on.
Ooh.
So we'll light the boiler. And this is a bit arcane, and it's a bit hard. I had to look up an FAQ to confirm this, but you have to be boiling it. It has to be boiling, but it can't be making steam from the little vent above the boiler. So you have to take it up to full heat until it's boiling, and then take it down to medium heat. Obviously.
Duh. That's how you also make pasta.
Well, the manual is everything in this age of gaming, isn't it?
Yeah, it was too, actually.
Oh, piranha plant. It's best to collect these before they start introducing...
I was gonna say, like, what happens, like, do they crop up when you need them? Like...
No, they just show up randomly. Like, there's a match. If we didn't have matches, we wouldn't be able to light the boilers and stuff, so you just
have to, like, jump around until one appears.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Ah.
But they do show up quite a lot.
What does it you say about randomness in game design?
Bad. But this was Commodore 64 days. We didn't know better.
Yeah, this is cave painting, essentially.
What is really fucking annoying, though, is if you fail your quota, you lose the game immediately. You have to start all over again. Not only that, but you have to rewind the tape to the start before you can start again. That's why I'm using save states.
That is fucking magnificent.
But as I said, I guess this... Ooh, extra time. I'll have that. Make more dolls.
Come on, Han Solos.
So, yes. Same way I like Euro Truck Simulator, I just like being able to serve a purpose in my games.
That speaks volumes about your sense of self.
I suppose. So you're happy just to be a spongy parasite your whole life, aren't you? If people...
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm going to university, is to be a spongy parasite for my whole life. That's exactly why I'm doing... That's why I'm doing like a Bachelor of Arts in Education, not just a Bachelor of Arts. That is just dead on. You exactly understand how this works.
Those who can't teach, my friend.
Those who can do were taught.
Well, you just a couple of weeks ago you were saying you were about ready to toss it in and go for professional wrestling instead.
That might have been a facetious remark, Yahtzee. Just a grumble at the, the hassle that having like the omnipresent threat of assessment can bring to a student around
many a true
exam
word.
time.
Many a true word is spoken in jest.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I'd love to be a professional wrestler, but even if I was doing that, that'd be getting along more of the circuses aspect that you seem so proudly to contribute to.
Well, do you want to teach kids out of, selflessness, or do you just lust for power? Well, let me finish that for you. There's no such thing as a selfless act.
No, I know that. Everything is all altruism is, filtered through the ego, and you have to feel good to do it.
Yes, I was reading Richard Dawkins' excellent book, The God Delusion. Fucking dual-coloured Chewie. And he was endeavouring to explain a theistic argument that states that why do charitable acts exist in nature? Why do we sometimes see animals do selfless things?
Because we're a social species.
Oh, well, not specifically us, other animals. Like, there's a species of bird that will that all live in like communities in trees. And some of the male birds will take it upon themselves to put themselves in the greatest risk in order to like fly to the top of the tree and do the watch for predators, even though they're the ones most likely to be eaten by predators. And they all like fight for this privilege. And there's a simple explanation: it's because the ladybirds love those birds the more. And an act of selflessness, an act of charity, is basically an enforcement of power and strength. You're saying, look at you, you have to rely on me. I must be great, and everyone should have sex with me instead of you.
Well, I mean that, and people risk takers are useful for like mating purposes.
Yeah, everyone likes kinky sex, don't they? Even them sparrows. See them sparrows wearing gimp
But I mean,
masks.
it's a demonstration of potential strength. Like if you go up there and you don't get eaten, that's nature selecting you, I suppose.
Mm.
That's why I impress chicks by dancing in the middle of the street.
I think this is where this is where colour is introduced. We have to make red Indiana Joneses. At least I think they're Indiana Joneses.
That's got to be Indy. That's the hat.
Yeah.
Can you get everything else done and then start the bike, or does it have to all be done in an order?
I generally do the bike first, and it's never really done me wrong. Although once I tried to not do the bike first, and everything fucked up later, so now I stick to doing the bike first.
I suppose it must let you know, like, how everything else is going.
You see the window next to the door? Mm. There's 4 lights under it. If one of the lights is red, that means there's a problem needs fixing.
Okie dokie.
Could be a conveyor belt going the wrong way. Could be just the boiler's turned off. Now we see the paint vat has been unlocked.
Amazing.
On this occasion, we've just been asked to make red dolls, so we'll just put a splash of red in there. In future, we'll have to make multicoloured dolls. So we have to be quick on the paint thing.
So you gotta, like, be standing in the paint thing, dicking around. Like...
Yeah, basically. And just hope the rest of the machine is ticking along all right.
Can it fuck up, like, during? I suppose rats!
Fucking get that fucking piranha plant. There we go. Fucking rodents.
Oh, to live in a world where there was some sort of Venus flytrappy thing that would eat rats.
Oh, I think it turned this switch as well.
Little bastard!
Yeah. The yellow rodent sticks to you.
This is without...
There are other rodents that will try to run away from you.
Oh, okay.
They're the tricksy ones.
This is without a doubt the most boring game selected.
Well, to each their own.
You fucking weirdo.
And that's this level done, basically. Because we don't need to change the colour.
Ooh.
Oh, a balloon.
Balloon!
Do you want a balloon, kid?
Hey, kid.
They all float down here.
You want to see me make a balloon animal? Is that one you can pick up, or is that the one there from eating the rat?
No, that's one I can pick up. Yeah. They'll disappear after eating a rat.
Can you fall in the paint mixer? And then die?
No, you don't die.
Or get like a workers' comp thing?
No, you cannot die. I'm Fred Fix-It, immortal maintenance man.
Cursed by Zeus to forever work Industrial Light and Magic's action figure division.
Industrial Might and Logic. Yeah, that's the point, actually. We're basically just making a load of money for George Lucas here, aren't we?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that was the fucking joke, is they've simulated the most, the highest earning part of the whole Lucas empire, which is the fucking action figures.
Yeah, and famously, when he made Star Wars, merchandise wasn't a huge thing in the film industry.
They gave it all to him. They gave it all.
So he took a dock in usual pay if it meant he could have the rights to merchandise, and he ended up being a multi-billionaire.
Squidjillions. Whole new fucking units of currency have to be units of measurement have to be fucking made for.
And then no one said no to him ever again, and that was where the problem lay.
Yeah. You know what? The new ones, I reckon, are going to be bog-standard fucking action-adventure movies with some sci-fi, and they'll probably be actually watchable.
Well, aren't they being written by that bog-standard screenwriter who did the Star Trek, the second one?
No.
Which was a fairly bog-standard modern-day action film script.
The second Star Trek was awful. Like, just weirdly paced. They literally, in the second Star Trek, they hadn't built up Khan as a villain in any way, shape, or form. So, in order to get this character understood and explained, they called Spock from the future and had him explain to the audience why Khan was bad.
Yeah.
Which...
That's not good storytelling.
I was almost yelling at the screen, like, really? You're gonna call fucking Spock and go, hey, we haven't bothered to show the audience why Khan's evil. We're just relying on, a non-diegetic understanding of the character. So why don't we just call, fucking Spock and go, yeah, he's evil. Is he? I don't know. I mean, he crushed that guy's head, but that guy was evil.
That's good. That's a good storytelling tip. Go through the whole plot without considering context and taking up names and allegiances and see who you think comes across as the bad guy.
Yeah.
That might be a good thing that the American military could have done before they invaded all those countries to fix shit.
Well, I mean, look at Iraq now. It's worked out so great.
I hear Iraq's sort of fallen apart again, hasn't it?
The United States of ISIS.
This is why I told you these governments should stop fussing.
Stop fussing, governments.
Yeah. Should have just let Saddam hold on to it. Because he was the devil we knew.
So this is where Fix-It Felix came from, apparently.
No, it's Fred Fix-It.
Completely different character.
Yes, entirely different. One's a surname, and one's, I guess, just some kind of honorific.
It's like a lord or a lady.
Before you see, he can fix it. Hence the honorific. Are we doing Culture Corner then? This seems to have naturally flowed into that. Because I did want to mention that I did watch a film a couple of weeks back that we haven't gotten around to talking about.
Oh, Fantastopotamus.
And that's Six String Samurai.
Oh, yeah, we watched that.
Yeah. Which is a post-apocalyptic cult film about an alternative mid-20th century America after a nuclear holocaust where Buddy Holly is enacting an odyssey across the desert to become the king of Las Vegas.
Okay, and to add some extra detail, he is a martial arts Buddy Holly
Yes.
The Elvis was the king of rock and roll and erstwhile ruler of Las Vegas.
He's the six-string samurai.
Yeah, and he wanders around with his guitar and his samurai sword, fighting bowlers, scavengers, guys in spacesuits. It's a great. If you love cult cinema, it's absolutely.
So, who the fuck are these characters? Do we think?
E.T. and Tigger or Winnie the Pooh? I mean, the one on the right's got to be E.T.
That's not a Lucasfilm film, though.
Disney owns it. Oh yeah, that was all later. I don't know that. I don't fucking have a clue.
I think the one on the right might be Hammerhead from the Star Wars canon. I couldn't even venture a guess as to the one on the left, but the important thing is, blobby one on the left is blue, skinny one on the right is red.
Oh, this is gonna fucking suck.
Alright, let's do it!
This fucking game is breaking me.
It's fun! I'm achieving things!
Yeah, Six-String Samurai is a really good cult post-apocalyptia.
Well, I wouldn't say it was really good. I'd say it had some weird technical issues, and that I think it was a really weirdly edited film.
That's okay. I need you to understand that is a component of that specific genre.
Don't you mansplain at me, you twat. I thought it was quite distracting and took away from the continuity of each scene.
Film-splain.
Yes,
Can a man mansplain to another man? I'm not sure.
I hate the term mansplaining, but it occurred to me that it's a good word for what you do.
Really?
Like that one time you felt you needed to explain to me what a conversation was.
Sometimes I do feel the need to explain basic ideas to you.
Yes, and that's very patronising, and it drives me up the wall.
Does it hurt Yahtzee's feelings? Does it hurt Yahtzeekin? Is Yahtzeekin oppressed?
Now you're patronising me more. You just patronise with every word and deed. Fucking
rats!
Fucking rat!
Don't worry about me, worry about your shitty rat-infested action figure store.
Rats!
It's flipping switches.
Rats! Rats! Rat!
That's actually a parable of how Disney bought Lucas.
I panic a little when rats appear. Did that come across?
No. I think you need to emote a little more next time. You're a little too conservative with your expression.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Right, what's the first mould we're using? It's Blobby Man that we can't fathom. So that was blue, wasn't it?
You can't fathom the Blobby Man. Yeah, sure.
Yes, it was blue.
Can you combine colors, or is it just like if you switch one, it changes to that color?
You can make purples and greens as well.
Jesus, how do you clear it? Like when you...
There's a little pull chain.
Oh, okay.
It's always kicking when I don't want him to kick.
Stop kicking the little gnomes. You see what I mean? Like, I can see it's a switch now, but because of the little hat, it looks like those things from, like, Gutsman's stage and Mega Man, like the little guys in crash helmets who peek out from underneath and shoot you.
Oh, you mean,
Tell me you know the name of those.
They do have a name.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is.
It wouldn't surprise me. Like, everything in games back in those days had a fucking name.
I can't remember. But don't take that as an invitation to inform us, 12 million people on the comments.
Of course they will. We don't know a thing on the internet.
This cannot stand.
We're not Google.
Right.
Okay, isn't like E.T. supposed to be other colours?
Well, the colour we're asked to employ doesn't seem to have much to do with the colour these characters are usually depicted as. So now we just have to man the vat and wait for the heads to change. See, the thing is, I'm not sure at what stage in the process the paint is added to the figures. So we'll probably cock this up a bit.
Maybe you want to duck down and have a look.
No, because the mold's going to change any second now.
And it's still pirate teddy bear? I want to...
Oh, I think they've changed.
Yep. Yep, flush it.
And a bit of red.
Alright, check. Like, you're going to have to check.
No, well, I heard a positive sound, so that means the dolls are coming through all right.
Yeah, but if they're coming through the wrong colour, don't you get docked?
Well, it doesn't matter, as long as we just create the minimum the quota says.
There's the industrious working spirit.
That's the job's worth attitude. I think
just do a half-assed job.
Oh, the mold's changed again.
You're not paying me to give a shit. You may want to push the...
Oops. Okay. Now we put the blue in. Don't
you feel they're all coming out their own colour?
I don't care. Don't you feel fulfilled? Don't you feel we're adding to society? Just think, you could be feeling like this as well if you got a job.
Yeah, this is a fantastic advertisement for jobs.
We're making George Lucas rich and millions of children happy. Well, temporarily, until these figures inevitably break.
Or until the novelty wears off. I mean, that was always my problem with action figures, was like, they're great, and then it's just a lump.
You just had no imagination, that was your problem. You had to come up with your own games, man.
One time, I got, like, a bunch of packs of, caps, like the little red ring runs.
Uh-oh. I think we pissed this up. Bollocks! We didn't create enough red ones. Oh, it's all that fucking around with the lemming earlier.
Fired!
Well, just, reload that.
I'm glad you saved it before we did all this gameplay.
Take 2.
Well,
it's hard to tell whether or not you've been fucked over.
Did you honestly how much did you play this, really, when it was out?
A fair bit.
This is tantamount to child abuse. God.
Well, it felt like so much more of an achievement.
There were actually fun games on the C64, right? Like, games.
Well, yeah, I didn't play this as much as other ones, I'll admit.
What did you play most? Advertise the C64 to me, given that this is...
I don't know, I played loads of games. I played a lot of Dizzy games. I used to have a collection of 300 of the buggers. Cassettes bought from the local newsagents and stuff. Those were the days.
Who distributed those? Like, did you just wander in with your own game and just stick it in a cassette thing with like a home fucking drawn cover and there's my game?
Well, there were a couple of publishers, like Ocean and the like.
Ocean. What happened to them? Are they still around in some capacity?
We've had this conversation.
Have we?
Lemming! Lemming! Ah. Yeah, so when we were doing, we did a game that Ocean published. And then we...
I'm not saying I doubt you, I just don't remember.
And then once we did... I think it might have been Jurassic Park. And then we decided to look up what happened to the company.
That's right, they got absorbed into the various...
They got absorbed by someone. I think it was Infogrames. I can't be bothered to check.
Yeah, I don't care that much either. If only we had 300 people to comment about it.
Bugger, I turned the heat down too quick.
What happens if you let it get steamy? Will something happen? Will anything occur?
No, the machine just stops until you make the steam go away.
This is like almost Desert Bus grade dull.
Well, that's the name of the series.
And for those asking, no, we're never going to play Desert Bus. And if you ever are curious as to why, download Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors. There are actually some interesting elements to Smoke and Mirrors, and play Desert Bus.
I think everyone knows what Desert Bus is.
Well, yeah, but see, it's easy for people to think it's a funny thing to do until you've done it for more than 10 fucking minutes.
Well, this comes back to what I was about to say about Six String Samurai.
Woo!
In that, Six String Samurai seems to be like the kind of concept which is funnier in concept form.
I don't know, see, I enjoyed it, but then I'm sort of, I like that kind of wacky, odd cult cinema. And to me, I
don't think the film really holds up. I found it a little boring and weirdly edited, and I didn't really feel that invested by the end.
Oh, yeah, I enjoyed it.
I mean, there's this...
You might prefer Boy and His Dog. Have you seen that?
No, I think you mentioned it to me at some point.
Are you making red aliens? I thought the other guys were meant to be red.
No, the blobby guys are blue, the other guys are red. That's how I remember it. That's my mnemonic.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I think we'll just...
Hey, there's a match.
Just wait for that. I'm just waiting for that red head to go in so I can change the
colour. I got a match. My butt in your face. I watched a chunk of Beavis and Butthead again last night.
Did you have something to offer to Culture Corner now that we've done the Six String Samurai? The summary of that is cult cinema doesn't necessarily mean good. There, that's it. That's my point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's under the illusion cult cinema means good.
Just funny idea that sounds funny and makes people on social networks go, lol, need this right away. Does not really hold up to lengthy appraisal.
Well, again, see, I would... I don't disagree with your not liking it. I disagree with the degree of your assessment of it. I think it is strangely shot and edited, but it it plays to the style of movie that it is. Like cult movies like that.
I don't think that's an excuse. I think it was just badly edited, frankly.
I disagree with that.
Well, I understand, you know, fast-paced editing to, like, emphasize a fight scene and stuff. I just didn't think it did that effectively.
It wasn't trying to do that. That's the point.
Well, whatever.
Yeah. No, you'd definitely more enjoy A Boy and His Dog. It's odd, but definitely shot in a more traditional manner, and plays out sort of more straight. But yeah, it's a good film. If anyone's watched it, you can agree with me in the comments, which we'll never read or care about. We despise you all secretly.
We're deliberately recording this before you got your platelets taken out, and oh shit, they're supposed to be blue.
Yeah, you made me get up at like fucking 9:30 in the morning.
Well, I was hoping maybe you'd have
first day of holidays.
I was hoping you could put it in a more energetic performance.
This game is vampiring away my will to live, you puckered orifice.
Well, you just managed to get some energy from somewhere. Finally,
ever-simmering contempt for you.
Well, I should be offended, but you just seem to have contempt for
that little sigh was, what?
Whoopsie, something went wrong.
You put torsos on torsos. You're gonna be fired, you cum dump.
Oh dear, there must have been a conveyor belt going the wrong way somewhere.
Oh, Jesus, now we gotta do this again.
Well, it wasn't going to get much more interesting in the next level, I'll admit that.
Fucking butthole. You know what my next game's going to be? Fucking Seaman, and it's going to be just an hour of me trying to get Seaman to call you a twit.
I don't care. I'm going to write a poem and read it out or something. Well, since you're so bored by the game, shall we do a topic?
Yeah, okay, let's try one of those.
Well, we've received some news about The Sims 4. Which I believe is slated for September.
Cold beans!
And the news is The Sims 4 will have less features than The Sims 3 on launch, and EA are telling you to basically go stick your head up a tailpipe if you want to complain.
It's funny, like, because you've got it written up here, like Yahtzee has, like, the topics written up, and it just says Sims 4, no pools or toddlers on launch, which is just a funny... kind of collection of things for me. Is that meant to be going counterclockwise?
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. No.
Gabriel saves the day. Gabe can fix it.
So you're helping. Don't you feel invested now?
No.
Well,
kill the rat. Yeah.
Well, fuck you.
I don't know. Maybe if there was like an employee stock option system where, you know, if you shipped more units, I'd see some sort of, you know.
Well, then it would just be papers, please, wouldn't it?
Vastly more entertaining game. So what does it say?
Yes.
While we recognize that some of you will be disappointed that pools and toddlers...
Let me do the dramatic reading.
Okay, do it in a funny voice.
While we recognize that some of you will be disappointed that pools and toddlers won't be available when The Sims 4 base game launches in September, you should know that we're building an incredibly strong foundation that is capable of fulfilling every one of your desires in the years to come.
Translation, get ready to fork out for expansion after expansion, you fucking pleb.
You know what makes me giggle is just, how are those two things related? Like, pools and toddlers. Like, it just seems odd. Like, I can understand if, like...
Well, it's just, of all the features in The Sims, those are two being removed. And I'd argue that the pool is an almost iconic feature of The Sims, because it's one of the best ways to murder your Sims.
Yeah, but again, like, yeah, you put them in the pool, you take out the ladder, and they drown.
Actually, I think that was removed in, like, later Sims games, but whatevs. It's still a sign of wealth.
My cousin used to do shit in The Sims, like, he goes, look at this, and just builds a fence around a guy and starts kissing his girlfriend in front of him until he gets mad and shits himself.
Yeah,
it's just
you
like,
can do that.
It's
just
a weird
build a fence
hobby
around. Build a fence around them. They just can't puzzle that one out.
Just, like, you know what I mean, though? Like, no pools or toddlers. Like, if it was like no pools or baths or something, it'd be like, we haven't got the water effects finished yet. We're working on getting some real U-Butte water effects for you. Or if it was like no toddlers and ugly kids or some shit, then it'd be like, okay, they haven't got some models done. But just no pools or toddlers is such a, you know, it's a, I'm confused as to how the two things could possibly relate, but...
Well, they don't. It's just the,
I know, it's the incongruity that's making me giggle.
Just the two features not having in it. And presumably by no toddlers, they mean that the Sims are just going to go straight from larval stage to child stage.
So there's a separate...
Okay, they seem to be coming together this time.
Oh, maybe we can succeed. What does the little lamp on the left-hand side mean?
What lamp?
The fucking burning lamp on your little bar on the left-hand.
That's how much time you got left.
Oh. Oh, running low.
Okay. She managed to get away from the paint vat. For just short enough a time to take care of the new red toys as they come in. Yes.
In my mind, I'm trying to imagine some kid excited to get this at Christmas. Oh boy!
I think it's quite an interesting game. I mean, obviously it's got its flaws, but...
Yeah, I think you're coming at this from, like, an adult who works with video games and thinks about it. Like, as a critic, yeah, sure.
I think there's some interesting raw concepts in here that video games should rediscover. It's about making sure everything's ticking over at once. It's about diligence.
Duty, responsibility, work for your wage.
Blue.
The other piece of news we had. Oh yeah, Philips suing Nintendo.
Well, can we talk shit about EA a bit more?
Oh yeah, sure. Fuck EA.
Fuck you, EA. Because I don't even know why I'm surprised, because they did exactly the same thing with The Sims 3. The Sims 2, there was a start of the game launched with a bunch of different scenarios you could use. Like, there was a standard Norman Rockwell style world, but you could also play in sci-fi world where people could turn into aliens, or fantasy world with vampires and shit.
That's actually a good idea. Like, yeah, like just have a full Sims but with a bizarre setting.
But when The Sims 3 came out, it was just, no, only Norman Rockwell land, and fuck you.
The Sims in...
Did we win this time? Well, we got the blues in.
Go blue!
Fingers crossed.
Testes crossed. Alright, come on. Looking good.
Looking good, just one more red. There we go. We're sitting pretty.
Oh, thank you, God. Get me out of this fucking hell.
Yeah, we knocked it out of the park, actually. It's not going to get much better.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, only one fuck-up of each. I was diligent with my colour changes. Oh, there's another. And another fuck-up.
One fuck-up per.
Who cares? Met the quota. More than my job's worth. It's now blue Jawas, yellow stormtroopers. Cowardly stormtroopers.
Cowards.
Oh, we're going to have some loading again. Well, this'll give us a chance to concentrate on conversation for a bit. So Nintendo versus Philips, eh?
Yeah, Philips are basically doing a patent thing, which is... I don't know, like this one I didn't have the energy to bother reading the actual... Because last time we had a patent discussion, I actually read the fucking thing.
Don't buy The Sims 4, it's going to be shit. Sorry, continue.
And this one... I don't want to comment exactly precisely on it, but it feels spurious. Just because they're talking about... So help me God if this isn't recording. We have to play
No,
this.
we're fine.
Good. Every now and then Yahtzee looks at the recorder. And
Yes.
makes me fucking nervous.
What's
that big punching glove looking thing?
Well, this is the new feature. And this was the level I played to, but I didn't get past. I'm not entirely sure how it works.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I think if the switch goes one way, the boxing glove will reject everything. And if it goes the other way, it will accept everything.
Okie dokie.
I guess it's the way you can... I'm not sure which
Which
is the
way,
right
yeah.
way, though. So I guess we'd better come down...
Have it facing the factory. That seems... I'd like to believe that's...
Yeah, that would make
sensible.
sense. But then, a lot of things make sense on paper.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Philips says it's patented something a little while ago. I think 03 or something like that, that involves the use of a pointer and camera system to register movement and play the game. And then, I don't know, I read some things to say that, like, Nintendo's doesn't use a camera, it uses infrared, and it's only, like, I think it's a UK court that's sort of upheld a chunk of it, and Nintendo's appealing.
Well,
But they're also asking for, like, a halt to sales of the Wii and the Wii U in the States, which I think is maybe reaching a bit fucking far.
That's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, like, I can understand that if you were producing something. If you were making a thing, if you're like, we're gonna release the new Philips fucking video game system with Wand of Gamelon 2, then sure, fine, but...
I had a Philips video pack.
That's weird. But it you know, this is what makes me feel like it's just sort of a bullshit fucking claim, is it's...
Okay, I gotta go down and make sure the boxing glove is working as advertised.
Maybe use an umbrella or some shit.
There's no rush just yet, and my umbrellas are finite.
Picked up so many, though.
We'll just follow a toy down the machine and make sure everything's hunky-dory.
So yeah, I think Philips is kind of just piping bullshit here. I think at worst Nintendo will have to make some sort of trivial payout that they'll get halved on appeal. I think
yeah, Philips are just like, hey, these guys have deep pockets. Yeah. We want some of that.
Because again, like, I didn't read the deets, but from what the article I read described it, yeah, it was based on like use of a camera, and again, the Wii U doesn't use, or the Wii and the Wii U don't use cameras for their sensor bar stuff. I don't know.
Okay, we're fine. The boxing glove seems to be letting them through, all right.
Tick. All right.
I better get back up to the paint vat before the stormtroopers start coming in. Oh shit! Stormtroopers are coming in. Bugger, 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 bugger. So this is why I hate manual labour. I did a temp job in a dog food factory once. It was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, that's great. What did you do?
I lasted 1 day.
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest. What was your job?
You know, just sorting cans, throwing away the dented ones.
Really? You couldn't do that for a day?
Well, a night.
A night?
And it was an arse.
See, that's the kind of job I'd like. I can just sort of tune out.
Well, I was too physically frail. I was only a teenager trying to make some money. And I was young and skinny, and I just kind of overexerted